Could NXT's run of great PLEs continue in 2025? Let's find out right now with our NXT Battleground review from Aussie Cousins Wrestling. So let's dive straight into the first match, and that of course was Ruca defending her Women's North American Championship against Kelani Jordynne. And these two started off with their usual agility display, and this time it was a little bit more hard hitting than their previous match at Heatwave last year. They actually really started to lay it into each other. And one of the first big moves of this match was the two of them fighting on the top rope, and Ruca hit a top rope X Factor to Kelani Jordynne. I don't know whether I've ever seen that kind of a move before. It looked dangerous, but clearly Kelani took it very well. Ruca showed that she has some really underrated strength. She was holding Kelani up for that stalling suplex and held her up there for quite a while as well. It was very impressive to see. And after she caught Kelani Jordynne on a Hurricane Runner attempt, she then hit a very innovative backstabber and followed it up with a Sasuke special to the outside. That was fantastic from Ruca. At one stage, Kelani Jordynne went for a poison runner off the top rope, and Ruca blocked this by landing on her feet, but Kelani still managed to get back on top, and she hit a super Spanish fly off that top rope and just got a really nice 2 count from that one as well. These two were really slugging it out in the ring before Kelani got back on top. She went for the split-legged moonsault, but Zarya got Ruca out of the way. The referee saw this and he did the "you're out of here" to Zarya. She was sent packing to the back, but the match continued in the ring. The two of them ended up fighting on the top rope once again. Ruca managed to push off Kelani and hit a soul snatcher from the top rope. Unbelievable stuff. She gets a 1, 2, 3. These two have fantastic chemistry together. I can see in 2 or 3 years' time, they're going to have some sort of feud on the main roster together. They will have premium live event matches on the main roster, and it will blow people's minds. I love what these two can do in the ring with each other. Josh Briggs with Hank and Tank up next against the Culling, and a bit of a strange booking decision for me on this one. I think the Culling actually needs to start getting some big wins, and they ended up on the losing end of this match. But either way, for the most part, this was actually a really fun match. At the start, you had all three of Hank, Tank and Josh Briggs diving to the outside. It was almost disastrous at the start when Hank and Tank ran into the ropes at the same time. That's not always great because it actually does like a double rebound off the ropes, but they managed to save themselves and hit some really nice dives. Later on, everyone was in the ring hitting dives onto each other, which ended up with Josh Briggs hitting a moonsault for a really close 2 count. There was one unfortunate spot where Tank was getting a pinfall after a really nice double team by Brooks Jensen and Nico Vance, and Hank Walker didn't quite get into the ring in time, so the referee had to kind of stop his count before the 3 count, and well before Hank Walker could actually get there to break up the pin. It took me out of the match a little bit, but I guess the rest of the match was pretty good, that it didn't take away too much from the overall match. Hank and Tank ended up getting the win after their high impact move on Brooks Jensen, when the Culling managed to get on top after the match and looked like they were going to beat down the 3 members in the ring before Yoshiki Inamura came back to get the save for his friend Josh Briggs, and as well as his friends Hank and Tank. Look, this was a good match. Probably not something I'd go out of my way to watch again, but definitely something I did enjoy live. One of the longest ongoing stories in NXT at the moment then came to a head next with Channing Stacks Lorenzo going up against his former boss Tony D'Angelo, the Dom of NXT. These two really did beat the crap out of each other and didn't hold back. It was definitely a lot slower than the previous 2 matches, but in probably a good way. It was more methodical, and there was definitely a lot of story beats to it. And I think these two wouldn't be out of place in a Raw or a SmackDown match doing this kind of work. They're very, very good mechanically, solid in the ring, and they move around very well. And of course, my cousin Mikey Spence almost picked the ending of this match, but he doesn't quite get the points for this. Luca Cristofino came out at one point when Tony D'Angelo was on top. He caused the distraction as Tony wanted to know why on earth he was there, which then led to Stacks giving Tony the old boot to the groin. He gets on top and hits the running knee Channing Stacks Lorenzo pins his former boss to get the win in this match. Luca Crucifino then went into the ring in kind of like an apologetic manner towards Tony D, who just pushed him aside. I do not think Luca Crucifino is going to be long for the D'Angelo family, and as predicted, we reckon that Channing Stacks Lorenzo and Luca Crucifino will get back together as a tag team, and they will become a really good heel team in this division. Right now on our channel, we have a bit of fun going on that you won't want to miss. We are doing our favorite NXT wrestlers of all, as voted by you, our fantastic viewers. So if you want to be a part of that, please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content from Aussie Cousins Wrestling, and join in the fun to find out who will be the favorite wrestler of the Aussie Cousins Wrestling family. Next up, we have Stephanie Vaquer versus Jordynne Grace, and oh my word, what a match this was. This was absolutely fantastic, as you could probably expect with two people of this caliber in the ring. So Stephanie definitely had the technical ability advantage over Jordynne Grace, but Jordynne definitely had the strength and probably even the agility advantage over Stephanie for the most part in this match. Near the start of the match, Stephanie had Jordynne Grace down for that devil's kiss, looking over at Booker T, before Jordynne Grace rolled out of the ring and had Stephanie Vaquer up in the electric chair position, dropping her onto the announce table right in front of Booker T before giving him a long look. It was fantastic stuff. This was clearly a massive heel move in the eyes of the Hall of Famer, as he did not like Jordynne Grace from there on in. After Stephanie finally managed to hit the Devil's Kiss, Jordynne Grace then got back on top and she hit a beautiful superplex before going straight into a jackhammer for a very close near fall. That was just lovely stuff from Jordynne Grace. Towards the end of the match, Stephanie managed to counter Jordynne Grace on the outside and throw her into the barricade, dragged her back into the ring, hit the SVB, her finisher, for a very, very close 2.99 kick out. This was absolutely incredible timing from Jordynne Grace, so much so that the crowd thought it should have been 3. I've gone back on the replay. She gets her shoulder up just before the referee's hand hits the mat. Fantastic timing from everyone in the ring. After this, the two of them had a huge slinging match back and forth, and they were on the top rope at one stage. Stephanie hits that wicked corkscrew knee to Jordynne Grace and then manages to push her off onto the mat once more. She hits the spiral tap from the top to get the win. Stephanie Vaquer is still the NXT Women's Champion. Jordynne Grace has not been able to overcome La Primera, and I have seen on their website, I'm not too sure how much you need to read into this, but Jordynne Grace is no longer on the NXT page. She's actually on the main roster page. So I don't know whether this means Jordynne Grace is actually going to go up to the main roster or whether she's going to hang around in NXT for a little bit longer. Let's move on to the men's NXT Championship now, and that was, of course, Oba Femi defending his title against the wonderful Myles Borne. And this man has definitely won plenty of new fans over the last couple of weeks with his promos, with his gutsy work in the ring. This guy is definitely going to be a superstar going forward. And this was an absolute over delivery between Oba Femi and Myles Borne. They have about 5 years or maybe 6 years of experience between them in the ring, and to put on a match like this at a big PLE was just fantastic work. Of course, Oba Femi was using his strength and power game for most of the first half of this match. Occasionally, Myles would get back on top, managing to hit a few of those beautiful drop kicks that he can do, but Oba was always able to get back on top. At one stage, Myles Borne did finally get Oba off his feet and sent him to the outside and hit a massive dive over the ropes. This was unbelievable how much air and length he got on this dive. He almost overshot Oba, who was not that close to the ring, to be honest. So Myles has got agility for days. But after a very valiant effort from the young superstar, Oba Femi managed to catch him with a lariat, then just tosses him across the ring like he loves to do, and then hits him with 2 thunderous falls from grace. Finally picks up the 3. But a great effort from Myles Borne. He gets the nod of respect from Femi on his way out, and a really lovely ovation from the crowd as he exits the ring himself. Myles Borne has said that he wants to be known for his ability rather than his disability, and if he's going to put in performances like this, he absolutely will. I really enjoyed this match. And finally, we have Hendry versus Trick Williams for the TNA Championship. This incredible historic moment, and I do not recall an NXT crowd being this loud at the start of the match when the two of them were just facing off, probably since the golden age of the NXT takeover days. These two show that they actually had really good chemistry in the ring as well. They both have fantastic agility. They can move around the ring really well, but they can also use their power game to really good effect, and were both doing massive moves on each other for most of this match. Hendry managed to send Trick Williams to the outside at one stage, and he hits his beautiful dive to the outside where he almost does like a seated dive over the ropes, you know, high jump style, and it just looks so cool. I don't know if anyone else does a dive to the outside like this. Pretty unique stuff from Hendry. Booker T on commentary was saying that Trick Williams was working with him backstage in the last few weeks, and you could see because he starts to channel the Hall of Famer as he goes for the bookend and then eventually hits the axe kick before going for the spinneroonie to a huge pop from the crowd, straight into a bookend from Hendry, 1-2, and a kick out by Trick Williams. This was lovely stuff. A little bit later in the match, Trick Williams also sent Hendry through the announce table with the bookend. It absolutely exploded, looked like it sucked to take for Hendry, and the ending is going to be a little bit controversial when they got back in the ring. Trick Williams went for the TNA belt to use it on Hendry. Of course, this was blocked by the referee, and then Hendry went for a roll-up. The belt was taken out of the hands of Trick Williams at this point in time and ended up in the corner of the ring. It was a pretty easy kick out for Trick Williams here. And then as he blocked the standing ovation, he then used that flapjack maneuver that he does straight onto the TNA belt, then hits the trick shot on Hendry. That's right, an NXT superstar has won the TNA Championship on an NXT Premium Live event. This was incredible. Huge pop from the crowd. Everyone singing "Whoop that trick." But I gotta say, Hendry put in a wonderful effort in this match as well. The two of them should hold their heads high for this main event, which was just lovely work. Overall, this Premium Live event definitely lived up to the rest of them this year. NXT always puts on some fantastic matches at their Premium Live events. Definitely something that you should go and watch for yourself if you haven't already done so. Of course, here at Aussie Cousins Wrestling, we do a wrestling predictions league where Mikey Spencer's up on me 41-36 going into this event. So for NXT Battleground, I managed to get 5 out of 6 correct by getting Ruca, Stacks, Stephanie Vaquer, Femi, and Trick Williams correct. The only one I didn't get right was I tipped the Culling over Hank, Tank, and Josh Briggs. I'm not sure about the booking on that one, but hey, I managed to get that one wrong. So 5 out of 6 for me. Mikey only gets 3 out of 6 as he chose Jordynne Grace and Myles Borne for the NXT Championship matches, as well as the rest being the same as me. So that means I catch up to him just a little bit. I go from 36 to 41 and he goes from 41 to 44. He's only 3 points ahead of me right now. Make sure you leave a comment down below and let us know what you thought of NXT Battleground. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any more Aussie Cousins Wrestling content, including our favourite NXT Superstar Awards that you can catch every single day on our channel. Like the video, and of course the most important thing from us is that we hope you all have a wonderful day.